What does it take to create a compelling world? I believe it's much less than you'd think. At the edges of story and world building, there are corners of blank space. That's not a bad thing. In fact, to the contrary, is perhaps one of the most important things about storytelling, and in particular, world building. Let me take you deeper, no pun intended, into one of the classic examples of this idea. The H.P. Lovecraft written novel, Call of Cthulhu. We live on a placid island of ignorance, in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. I think this line encapsulates the awe of not knowing and the wonder of human imagination. It really seems to me that there is always more to know about the old ones in Lovecraft novels, for they are vast seas of bottomless horror, and one would go mad trying to make sense of something so multitudinous. The appeal for me here is just that it goes on forever, spiraling outwardly until you have to come to terms with your own limited capacity for knowing. That to me is exciting. It's like being told that your cereal bowl doesn't have a bottom and you can just keep going until you're sick if you like. At the very least, it makes you feel that way. But all Lovecraft is doing is suggesting the infinite. The story has an end, as all things must, but you can feel the potential as the writer shovels full the furnaces of your mind and your individual imagination. It's better than being outright told why. I'm going to try and do it for you. A dark hallway stretches out in front of you. A large door stands distorted at the end of the hall. The gleaming door handle invites your curious gaze. There's no telling what lies beyond. Now let's focus the picture and get rid of some of the blank spots. You're standing in a rectangular hallway. At first your vision is blurry, but soon a door comes into focus. The door is tall burgundy red. It's 7 foot by 3 foot in size. It has a golden doorknob. It's likely you'll find a foyer beyond this door, or another hallway. Although the second description gives more information, it's not as interesting as the first. That's because the first gives you carte blanche to create your own ideas onto it. The door could be blue, the handle could be any unusual shape, the hallway could be as long or as short as it needs to be. So long as the mood is captured, each detail can come from the observer themselves. I would postulate that people have the potential to create vast, multi-layered narratives from as little stimulus as one object. And more than that, they will like what they create more than your specific long-winded monologue. In the Dark Souls series of games, there are a lot of characters that you meet from places you never get to see in the games. Siegmeyer from Katarina, Solaire from Astora. These little inklings to the outside world add texture to the paintings of these worlds. You don't need to know much about these places to start to understand what they're like. In fact, the characters' personalities give us the insight we need to start to build a picture of these medieval kingdoms. Solaire's bright sun sigil and valiant attitude gives way to churches of white marble and gold leaf, happy townsfolk living in revelry to their god, wearing humble clothes, thatched roof houses and farms of fresh green grass with gentle grazing cattle outside of a holy capital built in the sun's name. Siegmeyer's jolly, simple-minded ambition fills my head with crowded taverns and yellow-arched castles holding brave knights of Katarina. People walk confidently in busy market stalls, and vibrant plump fruits are picked perfectly ripe from beautiful green trees. And look, I know you can dig around in the item descriptions and actually get some more specific info about these places, but it's never too much that we can't create unique individual ideas. In one of my favourite D&D actual play shows, A Crown of Candy from Dimension 20, big ol' spoilers if you haven't seen A Crown of Candy, the main story takes place in a land called Calorum, where everyone is different food stuff. See what you did there. But the plot thickens. The prevailing religion of this land is the Church of the Bulb, and the opposing sort of deity of the bulb is the hungry one. So we understand this about the world, but then this happens.
Any last words?
Knowing that, just want to say, just loudly to everyone, that the bulb cares for no one.
And from that point, what we know about this world is set into question, and the powers that be are revealed to be far more vast and unknowable than we had first thought. This takes the motives of the villains into perspective and gives way for the role of magic in the series and in the world to have a philosophical impact in the quarrels to come. Obviously, there are so many ways to build a story, but games have especially plentiful opportunities to do so, and really creative things can be done with visual storytelling. So when a game tells instead of showing, it kind of bums me out. And thinking on it, video games are a pretty new medium in the grand scheme of things. As technology for making games gets better and faster and more intuitive, it's going to get to the point where building a game is akin to like sculpting or making music. Look, maybe saying that is naive, but I do know that anyone who makes something and does so in earnest wants that to be shared, and even better, elaborated on. That's what a good bit of storytelling does. It gives you just enough to play with that you get a satisfying experience, but also you're inspired to learn and maybe make something more for yourself.